Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica. Along with me, we have Mayor Duval Arthur, who is now the mayor-elect in your second term as mayor, but that will be official in January 2023. So pretty much it's business as usual right now, but congratulations to you.
Thank you, Danica.
Yes, but at this point, you've made quite a name for yourself in the town of Berwick. I mean, you've been on the council for 3 terms, and you're now in your second term as mayor. What's next for the town of Berwick?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed my time in Berwick. I wasn't born in Berwick. I was born somewhere else, over near Hammond. And Berwick is my home. It's my home. And met my wife in Berwick. My children were raised in Berwick. They went to Berwick schools. So Berwick is home to me. It really is.
Now, that's some news I never knew. I did not know you were not from this area. Okay. Well, so there's a lot more authors back in the Hammond
Actually,
area?
where I'm from, I'm going to tell you, when I say Hammond, because a lot of people out there know, I'm not really from Hammond. I'm from a place called Pumpkin Center. Pumpkin Center. It's between Hammond and Ponchatoula, and it's out in the country, okay? And that's where I'm from.
Well,
and,
I thought
Pumpkin
my
Center.
people were from the country.
Well,
Maybe Pumpkin Center sound like a one-stop light, one-stop sign.
Oh, that. We didn't have any stop. We had stop signs,
Okay.
but we didn't have any red lights because it's a very small community, and I loved it there. You know, the church was our social activity. I just had fun growing up there. I did, and Vietnam was going on at the time, and I didn't want to get drafted, so I joined the Army, and I left there, and I never came back, and I feel bad about that, but I just I moved to Berwick, and Berwick is my home.
That's it. I can understand that. And thank you for sharing that with me. I don't know if that's any breaking news, but I do have some breaking news that we're going to talk about. I definitely want to talk about this weather. We're going to date ourselves. So today is actually December 21st, and we're looking forward the next couple of days to some really cold weather. And I was just telling you before, I said you're wearing another hat because we typically had these conversations when you were the OEP director. But of course, being the mayor, you still have to handle some issues that could affect your community, your public, and that is icing of the roads and even the bridge, which is Highway 182 bridge. Can you kind of give us maybe an update as to what the expectations are, you know, by DOTD and city officials?
Well, Danica, we actually had a conference call with GOSEP today and DOTD and the National Weather Service to talk about the weather that's coming in on us. And part of it will be in tomorrow night. It's going to probably get down to around 23 degrees, so it'll be plenty cold tomorrow night. And then Friday night, it'll be down to 20. And then Saturday night as well. So we have a couple of days of very cold weather. With cold weather, you have to consider any kind of precipitation that we may have could cause a freezing of the bridge, the new bridge or the old bridge. And so we have the DOTD on standby to provide a saltwater brine solution to break up the ice if there's any ice on the bridge. But the National Weather Service has told us that we're not going to have any precipitation, so we shouldn't have any icing of the bridge. We should be okay with that.
Okay.
And not just the icing of the bridge. If you have precipitation or rain, and you have these freezing conditions that we have, it can put ice on electric lines. It can put ice on trees and tree limbs. They become heavy from the weight of that ice, and they'll fall. They'll take electricity lines out. And people are going to be depending on electricity to keep them warm. So it could create a very dangerous situation. We are prepared to open a shelter should something like that happen. Because if we lose electricity, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be very cold. And rather than them to stay in a cold house, and if they don't have the proper blankets and things like that, it could be dangerous. An elderly person, it could be dangerous for them to stay in that cold house. So we are prepared, if necessary. Should that happen, then we'll open a shelter.
And that would be the Berwick Civic Center?
Yes.
Okay, and we are expecting this weather around Thursday night.
Right.
Is that, or Thursday evening is
Yeah,
when
it's going to start
dropping?
rolling in Thursday evening,
Okay.
okay? It's not going to be that cold as it is the next 2 days, but it'll be getting very cold.
Yes, okay. Well, definitely want to keep our eyes on the weather, but keep your eyes here on KWBJ as well, and we'll give you, updates as they come through our Facebook page. So thank you for that, because this is, told you, breaking news. Anytime
Yeah.
we get on the air and I can get something out to you, I definitely will do that. But come on back. We've got much more to cover on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I'm your host, Danica Long. Mayor Duval Arthur is with us, and the last thing we talked about is in the event we have some really cold weather that could affect electricity in homes, he is opening a shelter of last resort pretty much, and that'll be for any individual. And I say any individual, that doesn't mean just for Berwick residents, is
Right.
that correct?
We want to help our fellow man. If it means that people in Morgan City that lose electricity, they'll certainly be welcome there. We're not going to turn our people away, and we want to help people.
Yeah, we sure hope that it doesn't come
Yeah,
to that,
that's
but
right.
we are looking at temperatures dropping down in the 20s, and we know freezing is what, 29, is that correct? 29,
Freezing is actually 32.
32, thank you, 32. And so 23, we're looking at 23,
Oh, yeah,
so
that's-
that means it's going to get really cold. And you mentioned icicles, so just a lot of things to think about, and also, get a game plan for you and your family. Let's talk about the 182 bridge. Oh, Highway 90 bridge stayed closed for so long for repairs, and there's 2 bridges out there. So if one has been repaired, well, you've got to make repairs to the other, and that is slated to happen early 2023, January, February.
Right.
Are you prepared? You know what, before I get to being prepared, have you talked to DOTD about the beams? I had DOTD here, and we talked about it after the fact, but have you guys talked to them about doing something with the beams that, go across for clearance?
Actually, they've done something to the beams. They've
No, I
actually
mean something
raised
properly.
them. Yeah. they raised them, and we haven't had one incident since then. So it just tells you that they were too low. They were.
I think you're being too nice.
Well,
Because-
and I think we talked about this once before. It's the design of where that beam was sitting.
Yes.
And I'm not an engineer, and I'm not even going to try to convince people this, but it was a bad design for having the beam that low.
Yes. Yeah.
But they corrected it. They realized they had a mistake, and they did go and they corrected it.
So it is, technically a part of the bridge, and they'll be doing repairs. Do you know if that's going to be a part of it?
Well, we're not sure that that's going to be part of, doing something with the beam. Every bridge today has something like that, an early warning, so you don't hit the bridge and do a lot of damage or kill somebody. You hit those things, and they have a tendency to give, but it lets you know that you would not go under the bridge.
Yes.
All of these trucks had gone under the bridge, and they never had a problem with the bridge. But the beams is what we had the problem with. So hopefully we got them set to where people are not gonna hit them unless they're just too big.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're anticipating them starting after the first of the year. They're going to be using the rally point in Berwick that the crews use for the Highway 90 bridge.
Right.
And it's a space that's located near City Hall, and that's where they're going to be leaving from, keeping their equipment there and stuff to make repairs and paint the bridge.
Okay. Well, we always talk about this. We talk about economic development. Everyone loves to live in Berwick, but at one time there really wasn't a lot of economic growth that we were seeing. But that is slowly but surely changing. Wouldn't you say?
I would say it's changing. We have a lot of interest in Berwick right now. When I was running for mayor, I made it a point to, and this was before I was running, I was actually earlier in the year, I'd contacted Brian Broussard with Nunu's Grocery in Lafayette, and we need a grocery store in Berwick. We don't have one. And they've got 3 in Morgan City, but anyway, we were trying to get one, and they said that they are putting Berwick on a list for a future Nunu's. So we're excited about that.
I just want to say I'm going to Nunu's. That's all I want to say. So we're going to take a break, but we're going to talk a little bit more about how Berwick is growing and some of the things that are underway and some of the projects that are going on right now. So come on back right here on the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back. We're talking to Mayor Duval Arthur and talking about let's go to Nunu's. It's a grocery store that is slated to come to the town of Berwick. And do we know maybe about when? You know, what part of the year are we looking at?
Well, Nunu's is building a new Nunu's in Maurice. There's too many Nunu's here.
Right.
They're building a new store in Maurice, and when they finish that project, they're going to come over and pay us a visit and ride around Berwick and take a look at the property we have available, and hopefully we'll be able to sell them on building a new store in Berwick.
Come on. Y'all, you heard it first right here on KWJ, the Voice of the Coast. Speaking of which, there's also some other firsts. Food court.
Right.
That food court is really hopping.
Oh, it kicked off so well, and every day there's a couple of vendors there, and they are making things.
And let me be specific. I apologize. Food truck court.
Food truck court.
That's right.
They have food trucks there. The people work out of the food trucks. They have electricity. They have water. They have sewage there. We provide that for them to operate. And they have to pay a fee, you know, they buy a permit to operate. And for that, we pay for the electricity, water, and sewer for them.
Something you said that we haven't really said in a long time, sales taxes are up.
Yeah, sales tax are up. You know, it's been a pleasant change, believe me it has. We feel it in it gives us a little wiggle room where we can do some projects that we want to do. We've got a lot of things that we're kicking off in Berwick. The Brown House, we're building an addition on the Brown House. It'll be an exhibition hall, but it'll be a double use. We're going to use it for distribution of medicine during the pandemic. So that it's going to have a double use. It'll be an exhibition hall. It'll be big enough we'll be able to put tables and doctors in there and nurses, that if we need to, it's a central part in Berwick that we're going to use to distribute medicine if we have a pandemic.
Wait, so you're still an OEP director mindset here, huh?
I have to use those angles when we're applying for grants, okay?
Okay,
And applying for grants and trying to get money to fund things like that, you have to be creative in the way that you describe what you're going to do. So we're doing that, and it's, I mean, I'm not making up anything. That will be available to us if we need it to distribute medication.
So I'm just curious, I don't know what you foresee here, but I mean, you feel like we're going to go through another pandemic?
Well, just in case, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry.
So really quickly, I'm following you, but why not use the Civic Center for something like that?
Well, the Civic Center may be used as a shelter at that time. There's an endless number of possibilities. Right now, the Civic Center is, and a lot of people don't know this, it has a nursery in there. They have a daycare center there. We have pickleball going every day of the week. So there are a lot of things going on at the Civic Center.
Okay.
We have church services on Sundays there, but from 2 different churches. So there's a lot of things that happen there.
Okay.
And if we are using it to distribute medicine, we won't be able to do those other things.
Okay. Well, you mentioned pickleball, and there's also another pickleball court under the bridge near the food truck court.
Right.
That's about 90% complete.
90% complete. It's everything's been The cement's been poured, it's been painted. We had to wait 28 days for the cement to cure, and it's painted now. It looks real pretty. We put the light poles up, and they haven't actually put the lights on, they put the poles up. And the next thing is the fencing, and once the fencing's complete, they'll be ready to go. They'll be able to play.
And also, while we have just a little time left, there's also a mural that is pretty much making its way around Facebook. We'll talk about that because I want to know, are you seeing numbers go up? I mean, as far as, people, are they traveling to Berwick? You do have at least one hotel. So let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back right here on The Voice of the Coast. All right, welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Let's get right into it. Folks traveling to Berwick, are we seeing kind of, this wave of people coming in?
Danica, we've noticed a lot that mural that was painted on the bridge. The girls did a wonderful job on that. They really did. And we're seeing that a lot of times on Facebook. I have a friend that lives in North Louisiana that he was on Facebook and he saw this thing that said Berwick. He knows I live in Berwick. So he called me and said, what do y'all got with this sign? And somebody up there in Folsom had
traveled through the area, right.
Came to the area and went to the lighthouse, and they took a picture of that mural. So I just thought it was nice that it's getting around.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that pretty much answers my question. Now let's get to some really hard-hitting stuff here. Let's talk about the drainage issues that were plaguing Country Club subdivision, and how's that project?
Well, it was funded by DOTD. It's been approved. We went through the process, and right now, the Miller Engineers, who's our engineering firm, are getting ready to put it out on bids. We got the approval from the DOTD. They looked at our plans. Everything has been approved, and Miller's going to be putting out on bids before the end of the month. It'll be going out for bids.
Oh, great! I know that's got to be something folks are happy to hear, because during those rains, it was really
it was scary. We were worried about that. We are going to be doing some work in the Patty Drive ditch.
Okay.
We're going to shore up the sides of it behind the church there. Some of the walls are starting to cave in. The old wood that was there is rotting, and we want to take that down. We've got sheet piling, and in the next week or two, you're going to start seeing people there with a crew driving sheet piling down. So they're going to shore that up so where water will be able to flow through and there won't be anything stopping it.
Some upgrades and renovations to City Hall. It's been quite a minute since I've been inside, and the roof you've actually pretty much done with the roof, and inside the building you've done some upgrades and repairs, so it's a whole new City Hall inside.
It is. Well, from the storm, we had some damage to the roof. We had a lot of damage on the inside of our building from that storm, and we had made a claim with FEMA, and they agreed to help us with it, and we got help. We got a new roof out of it, and a peak roof, so no more flat roof. And we also we put out on bids to gut the building, build some new offices, and fix up our council room and courtroom. And the crews have been working there, really done a good job, and we've never left the building. They've worked around us.
Yes.
So it's been a process. Believe me, it has. They got everybody on their toes, but we're getting ready to finish it.
Yes, and one of the things will just bring us back to a conversation we had during the break, and you mentioned about a walk-up window, and that is in the event we have another pandemic. Again, this is something that you're saying you're thinking really futuristic, because there are talks that maybe there may be more coming.
Sure, there are talks out there about another pandemic, and we want to be ready. Having that walk-up window will make it safer for the people coming to pay their bill, as well as my employees that will be collecting the bill.
Right.
So having that walk-up window is a safety feature. I mentioned before about the brown house, and in fact, we were going to use that to distribute medicine in case we need it. One of the things that happened within the last month, we've had located a cannonball in Berwick.
Yes,
A cannonball that had been fired, and from the angle of everything, from the river, at the from a ship, and it was a huge cannonball. DOTD, I'm sorry, EOD, Explosive Ordnance, came and picked it up, and we wanted it back. We wanted to put it in the Brown House, and the Brown House people wanted it too. We have a lot of pictures of it, but they took it, and while they were trying to disarm the thing, it blew.
Woo!
So there are nothing but fragments left, and
okay.
so there was nothing they could do, and nobody got it. It was a controlled
situation. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you guys next time.